I'm Catherine again, and we're back here with two new students. And would you guys like to introduce yourselves to the camera?
I'm Eden. I'm a first year in Morse College.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm a first year in Berkeley College.
Yeah, so do you guys want to walk us through your website and how you create it?
Yeah, definitely. So essentially we created a web application that's focused and more geared towards first-time voters and people who are new with civic engagement. And we really wanted to help them find a way to express their voices as effectively as possible. So the main function of our website is centered around a text search box where people can insert the abbreviation of whatever state they're interested in, and then it'll take them to a page that kind of synthesizes everything that they need to know to register to vote in that particular state. And then we do have some validation pop-up boxes with our box, so you can't type more than 2 letters, or if you try entering an invalid code, it'll come up with an error message that says you need to put a proper abbreviation. So for example, I'm from Colorado, so if I wanted to find out how to vote in that state, I would just submit, and then it'll take us to a separate page where we have important registration deadlines, how to pre-register, any same-day registration notices, automatic registration, and any documentation required. And this is true for any state, and we wanted just to be able to give people as comprehensive as information as possible to start them on the process.
So in the case that you made a mistake and you want to check the voter registration information for another state, basically click the link on the bottom, or you can click our logo and it'll return you back to the index page. And let's say I'm from California, so I can input CA for my state, submit, and it'll spit back information regarding voter registration in California. In addition to our voter registration lookup, we also have a navigation bar on the top with actual links to help you with voter registration. So we have links that include how to register, registering to vote, requesting an absentee ballot for college students who can't necessarily go back to their own state, because I'm not going to go back to California just for one day just to vote. There are also a link to check your registration, and we also included additional resources such as finding your polling place, 10 tips for voters, and frequently asked questions for voters. So essentially, the design of our web application was really, really simple, but we had a more ambitious idea in order to implementing this. We did want to implement an API in order to get all the information, and we also wanted to implement an SVG to create an interactable map so that users can just click on their respective state and the voter registration information would pop up. However, we did run into a lot of complications, so this was kind of born last minute over the weekend out of Eden and I's hard work. And we actually implemented a lot of stuff that we learned in CS50. Because it was stuff that we were actually really familiar with. So instead of using an API, we actually used SQL database to basically hard code all the data we found on voter registration information. So if you can see here, we have pre-registration information, same day, automatic, and documentation. All the information that you saw on that one state HTML page, all is on right here. And instead of implementing an SVG, we just decided to go with what we were familiar with, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, to create the whole table and the text box to search up. So, yeah.
I think another one really really error that we came up with was when dealing with the CSS for the interactive map. So we found the code for the interactive map online. We were going to be able to cite it, work it, and then put it into our website. However, we ran into the problem that the CS50 IDE wasn't necessarily recognizing some of the terms used in the CSS. So we realized that the CS50 IDE is actually operating with a program called CSS Lint, which basically keeps certain terms from being used to avoid the CS50 IDE from being damaged. But this does result in some problems when you're importing code. So we did try to download our code onto our desktop and then upload it into Heroku so we could possibly implement it in an external environment, but that didn't necessarily work out. So yeah, we just kind of returned back to our basics and a way that we knew how to implement it.
Yeah, so looks like there were definitely a lot of challenges in making this project, but you still finished it and you have a nice final project. And overall, what would you say was one of your favorite experiences from CS50?
I would say the general culture of the class was unlike any other class that I've ever taken, anything that I've experienced. And I think the way that it was taught really was conducive to absorbing the vast amount of subject matter that we were expected to learn and grasp. And I think since it was a largely collaborative class, and I did spend a lot of time with fellow classmates in office hours, just working through the problems together, I would say that's probably one of my favorite experiences with it.
Equally the same thing. I think there's something about just being together and like struggling on a piece set that kind of just makes you bond with everyone. Like I think like without CS50 I would have gotten closer to Eden because we did spend a lot of nights together where it's just like us working on piece sets and struggling to get an answer. So yeah, it's definitely the culture.
Thank you guys so much. Congratulations on your project. It was really nice seeing you guys at office hours and hardworking. And I'm glad you're done with the semester, and I hope you take maybe more CS in the future. Yeah, I'm Catherine, and this was CS50.